Well, you know, we Californians have some pretty big decisions to make this coming November election. The Democratic Governor Jerry Brown debates Republican challenger Neil Kashkari tonight.
And Democratic Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom faces Republican challenger Ron Nehring on the ballot.
And he's here with us live right now so you can get to know him better and make an informed vote in November. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right. So let's start off with the topic of immigration. I know that's something that's going to be hitting voters hard this November. What do you feel our state and country needs to do? You have some firsthand experience with this.
Yeah, I've spent time in Guatemala and Central America speaking with leaders and being on the ground, speaking to all types of folks. And I think we have to do a few things. Number one is that we need a safe, secure, and modern border. I live in San Diego County. It's clear that when the border is not safe, secure, and modern, it victimizes people on both sides of the border. Human trafficking, drug trafficking, crime, violence. They can't keep a police chief in Tijuana, for example. But we also need to adopt reforms that help us to meet our economic needs, such as an agricultural guest worker program, which has such a big potential impact here in the Central Valley. That program, the Bracero program, worked fine from the mid-1940s to the mid-1960s. It was shut down by Lyndon Johnson. And that program didn't, when that program ended, it didn't stop anybody from coming into the country illegally, but it stopped a whole bunch of people from going back. So the underlying economic drivers have to be settled. So we need immigration reform that secures our border and helps us to meet our economic needs, particularly in the Central Valley.
But there are also lots of faces to immigration. I mean, you came here in 1961 as an immigrant.
Well, my parents did. My parents did, yes. Yeah. And immigration is not so much an issue as it is a basket of issues. It's about visas, it's about borders, it's about economics, it's about student visas and work visas and so on. A lot of people think that everyone who's in the country illegally must have crossed our southern border, but actually 40% of the people who are in the country illegally have overstayed their visas. So we have a visa system that doesn't work either. There's a lot of reform that needs to take place. And California bears the brunt of it when we don't have those type of reforms. Our farms suffer because we don't have the right labor. Our border security situation with the importation of drugs and the like, that causes problems in border counties and urban areas like San Diego and Los Angeles and the like. So clearly reform is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're talking about drug legalization now because that's a topic on everybody's mind. Now, you said that you're not pleased with what's happening in Colorado. Now, you and Democratic Governor Brown and Senator Feinstein are in agreement there.
Yes.
So what do you think needs to be done?
Well, I think it's noteworthy that the Democrats and Republicans together oppose going down the road of Colorado. What you've seen in Colorado now is a spike in emergency room visits by children who have consumed all of these edible marijuana products. We've seen marijuana from Colorado wind up in many surrounding states. We have an increase in people who have been arrested as a result of driving while they're high, more fatal accidents that involve marijuana and the like. So that's the wrong direction to go. And we need to have drug policy that makes sense, where we have reform that focuses on treatment. Because really, when you take a look at where people are in terms of their age, in terms of using drugs, they tend to be younger people. Nobody starts using drugs when they're 40. If they're going to start using it, it's because they're younger. And the danger really is that the human brain doesn't stop developing, isn't finished developing until age 25. But most of the people who start using drugs are under the age of 25, which means they're really hindering their own potential development for life. So we need reform that focuses on treatment rather than incarceration.
Okay.
We've been telling reports this week about how Tesla is building a plant in Nevada now.
That's right.
So there was a lot of excitement, a lot of people wanting that here.
That's right.
In California. You know, Texas was also popular for businesses leaving the state or picking that state over California. What do you think will attract more jobs, more companies, more businesses here, rather than as opposed to going to places like Nevada or Texas? Yeah,
I think we have to start with looking at the fact that we need job growth, particularly among small and medium-sized businesses, to help them become larger businesses. That's where the job growth takes place. It's not big companies remaining big that creates jobs. It's small and medium-sized companies becoming larger. And that's where California's uncompetitive tax system, regulation system, and litigation environment really does the most damage. So we need to take a fresh look. Right now, California is ranked dead last among the nation's CEOs for friendliness for creating jobs in the state. That has to change. We have the highest income tax, the highest sales tax, and the second highest gas tax. We have to look at tax reform that lowers the total tax burden to make our state more competitive. We have to address our education system because employers are looking for good quality educated workers, and the fact that our schools are ranked in the low 40s nationally hurts us as well in terms of our competitiveness. So it's not just reducing taxes and regulations, but it's also education as well.
And all all of these things that you're saying, are these things that, if elected, a lieutenant governor of the state of California can truly address?
Well, I think the job of lieutenant governor is what the holder chooses to make of it. Now, right now, we have one party that holds all the seats. Now, the Democrats, of course, deserve to hold some of the seats in Sacramento. Of course they do. They're the largest party in California, but they don't deserve to hold all the seats. And right now, one-party rule is not helping us in the state. So all of the Republicans who are running statewide were all underdogs. But it's important that we get as many across the finish line as possible so that we have a real meaningful discussion, not a one-sided discussion on how to tackle jobs and education and water in our state. So the lieutenant governor is the chairman of the state's Economic Development Commission. Under my opponent, the incumbent, that commission is defunct. It's not operating. It should be fully appointed. It should reflect the politics and demographics and regionalism of the state, and it should get to work immediately in terms of taking the steps necessary so that we don't miss more opportunities like Tesla not building their gigafactory in California, or Pratt & Whitney and Occidental Petroleum and other companies like Toyota leaving the state for places like Texas.
You know, it seems like it's just common sense. You know, it's common sense. Businesses are leaving. Wait a minute, we got a problem here. What are we going to do to change it? That's unfortunate. That's what's frustrating to the voters. We elect people to represent us, and then common sense issues like that, they don't address the way we feel in the right way, and they just don't worry about it. They just let businesses go.
Well, we really have to worry about it because,
well, in Sacramento they don't.
Well, in Sacramento they're busy telling all the incumbents who are running for election are busy saying California's going to come back, everything's fine. There's one region of the state that's doing great, and that's the Bay Area. That's because we're in a tech boom right now, so all the counties in the Bay Area are doing well. But if you drive just outside of the Bay Area, places like the Central Valley, places like Colusa County, which has unemployment of 15%, the hardest hit parts of the state, the parts of the state that are being left behind, are in two regions, the Central Valley and the Inland Empire, where we have sky-high unemployment. I live in San Diego, 6% unemployment rate. Right next door in Imperial County, 24% unemployment, one of the highest in the country. So what the status quo is not working, simply demonizing businesses is not working. The reason I want to see business grow is so that they hire more people, so that we can put more people back to work.
You know, just yesterday we had Democratic Congressman Jim Costa here. We talked a lot about water, about the issues surrounding that and the drought. So from a Republican perspective now, let's maybe talk about what can be done so that we don't have to have more fallowed fields, more people without drinking water. We've got people in East Porterville right now who just don't have tap water. They're relying on donations. From a Republican's perspective, what do you think needs to be done?
Well, there are a few things. One is that we have to shift the mentality in Sacramento right now, which has been dominated by one side, which doesn't want to build anything. And there's always an excuse not to build either a dam or a reservoir or so on, and we have to get away from that. Second, we don't have the infrastructure to support 40 million people. We have the infrastructure to support a small minority of that, perhaps half. And so we need to build more dams. We need to raise the level of some of the dams in Northern California. We need to build additional reservoirs. I support the water bond. It's going to be on the ballot this November, but that doesn't go as far as we need for it to go. So we're not going to be able to change the policies coming out of Sacramento until we change the people who are up there. But also, when it comes to water, electricity and the cost of energy is a big factor as well, because wherever you have to pump water, you're using electricity very often in order to do that. California, we have electricity rates that are 53% higher than they are in Texas. Where I live in San Diego, I live at 1,600 feet. Most of my water bill is not in water, it's in electricity, in order to pump that water up the hill. Yeah. And you know, that doesn't impact people who are wealthy and who are doing really well. You know who it affects most? High electricity rates and the lack of water. It affects people who are not doing as well. And a lot of folks in the Central Valley and the Inland Empire fall into that category. That's who we have to look out for. We want energy to be inexpensive, and we want water to be plentiful and inexpensive.
How can you do that when we just did the story that PG&E is, you know, going to be spending a lot of money, although they're trying not to, for the San Bruno blast?
Well, certainly, and not only that, but you have another factor that's driving electricity costs up, and that's something called the Renewable Portfolio Standard, which is a very bureaucratic sounding term, which basically the state is telling all the power companies you have to buy 1/3 of your electricity from so-called renewable. It doesn't include nuclear, it includes wind, and includes solar. Well, the cheapest way to generate electricity on a per kilowatt hour basis is with natural gas, but that doesn't fall under the mandate. So instead, the state is forcing the power companies to buy more expensive power, and who are the they turning the costs onto people primarily in the warmer parts of the state, in the Central Valley, in the Inland Empire. Many of those rules are being adopted by people who are represented by folks who live on the coast. If you live on the coast, you don't run your electricity, you don't run your heat as much, you don't run your AC as much. But it's people in the Central Valley and the Inland Empire who are paying for these policies that are not practical. I think we have to take a very practical approach to this. How can we lower electricity costs so for that family that's living on the margin in Fresno or living in the Central Valley or the Inland Empire or other warm parts of the state, that they can better make ends meet? That's the biggest challenge today. That's not the priority for the people who are in Sacramento.
I feel bad. I'm sorry. We got right into the issues here. Ron, you said you're from San Diego.
I am.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, my parents were German immigrants. They came here in 1961. My father sailed the world as in the German Merchant Marines. He got to visit all parts of the world. When he was done with the Merchant Marines, he met my mother, said, of all the places that I've just visited, I want to raise our family in freedom in America. So they came to America. They didn't speak a word of English. My parents learned English by watching cartoons on television. They became citizens in 1967. I was born in 1970, and so I came to California in 1996. I love this state. California used to be #1 in so many different areas: education, jobs, our K through 12 education system, transportation, our freeways, and it's not that way today. Not because our people aren't working hard enough, but because we have bad policies coming out of Sacramento. That's why I'm running. I'm excited to be running. I love this state. I've got to see every corner of California running for lieutenant governor. Every time I go to a new place, it's even more fantastic, and I just love so many of the people we're coming across.
Let's talk about your political resume just a little bit. Governor Schwarzenegger appointed you to the California Board of Forestry and Fire Protection.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that first, and then we'll go to other things.
Yeah, in 2003, the Cedar Fire struck in San Diego County, and over 2,000 homes were burned. It was the most destructive fire in the history of the United States in terms of homes destroyed. And in the aftermath of that, Governor Schwarzenegger appointed me to the Board of Forestry and Fire Protection. My home was not damaged. My property was damaged in the Cedar Fire. Almost my entire neighborhood was burned to the ground. And the governor wanted to have a fire victim's perspective on the Board of Forestry and Fire Protection, which until that time had been focused mainly on forestry issues and less on fire protection issues. And so while on the Board of Forestry and Fire Protection, I got to lend that type of perspective. We helped to draft the rules concerning what's called defensible space. Those are the rules that say that within about 50 feet of your home, you should have a vertical and horizontal separation of the fuel around your home, so to make it more defensible in the event of a wildfire. So that was a very valuable experience. It was an honor to serve with the appointment of the governor.
And you also were very quickly former chairman of the California Republican Party as well.
Yes, I was chairman of the state Republican Party from 2007 till 2011. Prior to that, I was the leader of the party in San Diego County. And so this has been very, very helpful to our campaign. We were able to put a grassroots team together from every part of California very, very quickly. It's why we won the primary. It's why we're heading off to the general election against Gavin Newsom.
Okay. And our viewers get a chance to spend some time with you today if they are in Visalia today.
Yes, we have two events. We have a noontime event in Visalia, and then we have an evening fundraiser in Tulare County as well.
Okay.
Yeah, 12 to 2 at the Visalia Holiday Inn, 9000 West Airport Drive. That's where you can meet Lieutenant Governor candidate Ron Nehring.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
And if you'd like to learn more about this candidate, you can also go to KMPH.com and click on news links to be connected to Ron Nehring's website. Coming up here on Great Day, we'll talk with the Fresno County Farm Bureau about what is in season.
Plus, how you can watch, well, tonight's debate between Governor Brown and Neil Kashkari.
And a dull pain thanks to darkness, but somehow amidst a year of intense cancer treatment and an amputation, there is life and hope.
You're watching Great Day, the Valley's morning news and entertainment program. Great Day will continue in a moment.